Believe it or not, we are only a few weeks away from pitchers and catchers reporting to spring training. The St. Louis Cardinals have checked off almost everything from their to-do list this offseason, except the thing I think we all thought they were a shoo-in to do, and that's trade Brendan Donovan. The market has continued to ebb and flow over the last few days, and there's rumors percolating here and there. But I guess the question we have today that we want to answer is Brendan Donovan going to be a Cardinal in 2026? It looks more likely. We'll get into that here today. We'll also talk about the right-handed bats on the market. Should the Cardinals even be really after one? And if so, what are the fits? We'll talk about all this and more on this episode of Dealing the Cards. Hey, welcome back into Dealing the Cards. Josh and Sandy, as always. No Andrew today. But always appreciate all the hard work he puts in to what we do here. We're St. Louis Cardinals podcast, goes live twice a week over on the YouTube channel. Make sure you hit that like button as you're going through, especially if you're enjoying the content. We really appreciate it. Comment in the chat if you're with us live today. I'll try to keep watching those. We got Alan in here today. I don't know how the weather is for you, Sandy. We should address that off top. Here in Bloomington Normal, we canceled a lot of things this morning, so the snow was deep. I mean, the main problem was that the snow came overnight and in the morning. So I feel like if it came earlier in the night or later in the day, we would have had stuff today. So it ended up being, it's okay. Like I've driven, it's quite a bit. It's like 5 to 6 inches, but not crazy. But it's like negative temperature, super cold. So Sandman, how's it going where you're at?
Man, we got like almost 2 feet of snow. So this is yeah. Columbus, Ohio got smashed by this snowstorm. Everyone said it was going to go south of us. It kind of shifted north. I don't know. It says 19 inches. I think I buy it. But Columbus is weird. The city doesn't shut down. I guess they're ready for it. I've never lived somewhere with this kind of stuff. Like, St. Louis, you get some snow, but the meteorologists are always, pumping stuff up. Although St. Louis did get hit hard. And then obviously going to school in Texas, no snow pretty much ever. And the 1 inch or like the dusting we got once a year would shut the whole place down. So they've already plowed the roads, plowed the sidewalks. Like I'm going to be in class this week. School don't stop.
There you go.
Yeah.
School don't stop. We'd love to know where you're at and what the weather's looking like for you guys. Looks like Skyboy got 8 inches in Tulsa, South Missouri. A lot of ice, no power. That's not good.
Yeah.
Luckily, we've got power here. 3 inches up where Steve's at. Appreciate Steve being in the chat. Skyboy, recognize you're always in here as well. Andrew, that is an underrated comment. Why are you moving me to the outfield? I play third. We'll see. I don't know if the position change will work or not. We'll see if it sticks. Hey, so again, I think the biggest thing the podcast we want to talk about today is Brendan Donovan, but also want to get into the right-handed bats. But Sandy, I don't know how much you've kind of kept up with what's happened over the last few days. Obviously, we had the report from Jeff Passan a few weeks ago or so that said the Giants were pretty hard after both Brendan Donovan and Nico Horner. Nothing really came of it. But then over this past week, we heard that the Giants made an aggressive offer for C.J. Abrams from the Nationals and then got turned down, including one of the best prospects in all of baseball, top 30 guy, according to Baseball America. So we can break that down a little bit, which is, and even within the report about the Giants' failed attempt at the Nationals shortstop here, who I'm going to get into in a minute. I know he's younger and has a little bit more control, like one more year of control, but Brendan Donovan's a better player to me. So it'll be interesting to see if that's something that the Giants maybe want to pivot on. We also got a report, I don't know if you saw this, that apparently the Mets were players for Brendan Donovan, but since they traded for Freddie Peralta and signed Bo Bichette, they're out of that market now. But if they had struck out on Bo Bichette, they would have pivoted to Brendan Donovan aggressively.
That would have been really nice.
You got the Red Sox, who still want to add a second baseman, and Nico Horner seems to be a Cub. And so it's like Brendan Donovan, is that your guy? And then we've also got Seattle too. So there's still, like, if you told me at this point in the offseason, the Red Sox, the Giants, the Mariners were all still aggressively. Mariners, maybe it's hard to say if they're aggressive or not, but there's teams that really want
be aggressively pursuing Brendan Donovan. Brendan Donovan makes that team better.
They're a great fit. And so there's a lot of teams out there that want Brendan Donovan. And so if you told me at the beginning of the offseason that we'd be getting to a space where these teams are still looking and there's not really other options out there, I would have said Brendan Donovan's probably a goner, especially because it seems like all these teams do value him. There's obviously no one's wanting to hit the price the Cardinals are asking for yet. But we are a few weeks away from camp. Bloom shot it down at the winter meetings that they shot down the idea that there's an end date in mind. So it seems like they'll carry this into spring training if they have to. Obviously, if he makes it to camp, it's far less likely he gets traded, and it probably holds out to the deadline at that point. But I guess I'm curious from your point. Whoa, I'm echoing a little bit on your end. I'm going to mute you until you respond. But I'm curious, just what are the odds you're placing now? I feel like we've done this a lot on episodes. Like, what are the odds you placing on Brendan Donovan trade? And if he is going to get traded, like, is it the Giants now? Is it Boston? Is Seattle going to be that team that ends up stepping up to the plate? Like, who would be that team who goes and gets him?
I really don't know. I've been doing some fun stuff and kind of looking at like team baseball reference pages from last year. And I just want to echo what you said before we get into specific contenders. But like, there's not really a team in baseball that doesn't get better by adding a Brendan Donovan. You want to talk about the Red Sox last year? They split second base between a bunch of different guys. I think Christian Campbell got the most starts there. And obviously he didn't adjust well to the big league level, 86 OPS plus. I'm sure they still believe in the talent. Like they shuffled guys around, and Brendan Donovan would have been a clear upgrade at multiple spots. Especially with Devers out the door now, they're going to have more flexibility in their DH role. Like there's a lot they could do here.
Yeah, the one thing that makes me
like Donovan is better than these guys.
But even as you're mentioning that's the one thing that makes me question Boston and why it seems like in reports they've looked at trying to find other options. They are very left-handed heavy right now, so I do think that's an interesting wrinkle to it.
I think so too. But Brendan Donovan, like, I think some of the split stuff is exaggerated. He definitely is a left-handed hitter, and he shows the normal traits of a left-handed hitter. But I don't think he's like unplayable. You know what I mean? I don't think he's a platoon player.
I don't know for Boston I don't know if it's that they think he's unplayable against lefties. I think it's that they've got a lot of guys who can hit right-handed pitching. They need more help against left-handed pitching. But to your point, I still think like you said, Boston still makes sense, as do 90 other teams. Well, there's not 90 teams, but I mean, AAA teams make sense too if they want them.
I think there's a really good chance that whoever adds Brendan Donovan gets the best version of him this year too. Like the last few years, we've seen a version of Brendan Donovan at different times emerge. Like first half Brendan Donovan last year, where he's running, an 800 OPS or even better than that for most of the first half. Or Brendan Donovan, after coming back from injury, had a little bit of a power binge. Each of the last 2 years, when he's been healthy and gotten consistent playing time, we've seen him be a guy that's not just a good defender, better than you'd think on the base paths, and 15% above league average. We've seen him turn into a guy that's maybe a 20 to 25% above league average bat. That's an all-star. That's a really valuable player, and there's not a single lineup in the league that doesn't get better by adding that player. I mean, go look at Seattle. With Eugenio Suarez out the door, it's like maybe Cal Raleigh's an MVP again next year, but I think it's very fair to say that there's every chance that he doesn't give you all the production he gave you last year. You never bet on a guy to hit 60 home runs a second year in a row, unless you're talking about Aaron Judge or the Shohei Ohtanis of the world. And while he's great, is he that guy? The Cardinals have seen what happens when you bet on a guy to repeat an MVP season. They bet on Goldschmidt to do what he did in 2022 and 2023. And while he was good, any step back is a huge step back from production like that. So I just don't understand why the market's not shaping up. And it kind of like bothers me because I think it just makes so much sense for so many different clubs. The Giants are another great example. So who do I think ultimately is going to pay up? It's so hard to tell right now because I just think there are so many clubs that should. I think you can go down the line and it's like the Yankees probably could still fit Brendan Donovan in. I don't think they will at this point. I think they're out of it, but they could still add him. I think the Mariners and Giants, we've talked about them 100 times since the start of the offseason, and they've made sense every single day, and that hasn't changed. I think, like you said, the Abrams stuff, we really should talk about that. I think that's worth talking about later in the show today. But I don't really want to predict anymore because I have no idea where he's going. I think the only teams that are off the table at this point are the teams that have acquired second baseman or have determined they want to keep their second baseman, or teams that are out of contention. But obviously there's no Pittsburgh trade that makes sense or anything like that, or Arizona because they're holding Ketel Marte. But everybody else is still on the table here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even a Tampa Bay deal, if they all of a sudden made a play for Brendan Donovan and thought that was a place they could extract value and then extend him for somewhere, below market value for a player of his value typically. So, yeah, I mean, I sure hope that they get something done here because I think this is a great opportunity for anybody to augment their lineup.
Yeah, I'm with you in the fact that at this point, it's like I don't want to predict anyone because there are too many teams that make sense. Yeah. And I mean, there's been weeks where I'm like, Seattle's the team, right? And there's other weeks where I'm like, Boston's the team, right? And then it's like right now I'm like, feels like the Giants might be the team. Early in the offseason, I was like, please no, but it might be the Royals. Like, please no. The Guardians, who knows? Maybe they could throw their hat back in the mix. Honestly,
the Guardians should be all over this. Brendan Donovan is exactly the type of player that Cleveland has to back up Jose Ramirez with. You just got him on another like crazy team-friendly extension for a true superstar, like one of the 8 to 10 best players in the league almost every year. And every year they surround him with nobody. Have you seen their projected opening day lineup? It's
pretty tough.
It's close.
I mean, they're the one. They also had one of the worst lineups in baseball last year, so they're running back a route that did not work. But I mean, they do have young guys coming up though. So like,
but like, you can bet on them all you want, but you only get so many years of prime J-Ram. And if I'm the Guardians, I'd be willing to make a move like this. Like, make your team better right now.
So here's again. We get comments like that all the time. Like, what are you actually getting for Brendan Donovan? Dude's a utility player. I think, and honestly, I feel like it works against Brendan Donovan in a way that just doesn't make sense to me, that he plays multiple positions, because then people pigeonhole him into, oh, he's just a utility player. We're talking about a guy who is a 119, so I'm gonna round up 120, a 20% above league average bat for his career, who can play second base, third base, left field, right field, first base. He can play shortstop for you in a pinch. Now, obviously, like when you go to advanced metrics, the defense doesn't always look great, but I think he's a guy that when you like actually put him at that position for a while, he's going to play it pretty darn well. Again, of course he's not going to hit 25 home runs for you, but he does have power. He's a guy that can hit. He was on pace early in the season before he had that turf toe to have like 50 doubles on the year. I mean, he's a guy that could to get you
a lot of line drives. He hits the ball down into the corner. He hits a lot of gappers.
High on base guy, high average guy. And again, this is part of the reason there's so many teams who've been interested in acquiring a Brendan Donovan. Like, again, he's not going to get you this insane haul, but also I think he's going to get you more than I think, or the Cardinals should not give him up for less than what I believe he's worth, which I think he's in that weird tier where he's not a star, but he's not a role player either. He's like a very, very good player who could be the fourth or fifth best player on a championship team for you in a position player, maybe third best. I mean, it's just hard to say. I remember a couple of years ago, someone was like, oh, Brendan Donovan's not a World Series caliber player. Like, no World Series lineup would have it. I went through every single World Series winning team from the Cardinals in history, and the worst he would have ever ranked in a lineup is their sixth best hitter. And that was like in one of their insane 1930s teams or something. Like, he's usually the fourth or fifth best hitter on that team who won a World Series. Like, his bat plays, and he can play second base, third base, left field, right field. He's not a shortstop, but he could do it in a pinch if he needed it, and he can also play first base, and I bet he could do that really well.
I mean, we could say till we're blue in the face, but like Brendan Donovan is good. He's a good player. There's a reason he made the All-Star team. Like, yes, the Cardinals were going to get a selection. Everyone gets a selection, but there's a reason it was Brendan Donovan, and he was a worthy All-Star last year.
Yeah,
like don't look at the full numbers, because he got hurt and he played through an injury. And that speaks to how good Brendan Donovan is, because the Cardinals' options after him were so bad, and they felt like they had to work to stay in contention, and that necessitated Brendan Donovan staying on the field. Yeah. The fact that Brendan Donovan with turf toe and a clearly less productive version of him is still your best option at multiple spots, like that speaks to him, and it speaks to the organization.
Yeah.
But I think our understanding of contenders is so skewed because of the super teams that exist today. That's not realistic.
Yeah.
Like, you have to have depth. Brendan Donovan is a key part of that depth.
Well, even then, like, I mean, until the Dodgers got Tucker, like figuring out a way to fit him into the lineup is kind of weird now. Let me try to find it in here. I'm trying to pull up their roster resource, but like, I mean, you could probably make an argument to put him in the lineup now too. Like, I'd play him over second base over Tommy Edman. I just would.
I think he's a better hitter than Tommy. I think
long term, I'd rather have him than Max Muncy. I mean, especially talking about the money, I'd rather have him than Teoscar. So anyways, it's just he could fit into any lineup right now if he needed to. Now, part of the reason I think we haven't seen that trade yet is that for as good as I think Brendan Donovan is, teams might be saying, well, do I want to go give up the assets required to go get Brendan Donovan, who is a really good player, or do I just go with what I have internally right now? Like, do the Guardians just say, hey, we've got Bazana coming, so we're going to be okay? Or does a team like Seattle just say, you know what? We'll sign this outfielder out there who might not be as good as Brendan Donovan. He might be 15, 20% worse, but then we get to keep Cole Young, or we get to keep this switch pitcher dude. We get to keep, like, to them, that those are the things you have to start weighing, though, when you're talking about making these aggressive deals, because at some point your system does dry up a little bit here. And so,
but when you're Seattle and you've got, I don't know, 8 or 9 top 100 prospects, it's like at some point you have to go do something. Yeah. Seattle's had a great farm system for the last 10 years. We've seen multiple waves of prospects graduate. I mean, how much longer do they have? Let's be real here, right? Like, you've got Brian Whoop, Bryce Miller, Logan Gilbert, and George Kirby all under team control right now. But the older guys are getting older. Like, George Kirby and Logan Gilbert are ARB players now. They haven't signed extensions yet. And how much longer you got?
Well, I mean, I think what they're probably banking on is they've got a young position player core coming in. So they're probably saying, well, yeah, we're probably going to lose a couple of these starters in the next few years, but We've got more pitching coming because if they start trading from Salone or switch, like then they don't have young pitching coming anymore. They do, but they don't.
I get that.
So that might be part of the reason why they're not. I'm just trying to speak it from why maybe they haven't pulled the trigger. Even though I agree with you, they should do it because their team is primed to win right now. And it's like, yeah, Kyle Riley's 29, but you probably assume he's got a few more years of prime. But they're probably looking at, well, we've got Cole Young coming, we've got Miguel Arroyo coming, we've got some of their outfielder prospects. They've got more guys where it's like they might think. Again, I think every team wants to believe that they are that they've got more of a runway than we think they do to contend. But as we all know, these windows can close quick. And so I do think the Giants are a weird one to me where I don't totally understand why they're so aggressive. I don't like their team. I think it's fine. I just don't see it. Like if they get Brendan Donovan, and for as much as I love Brendan Donovan, I don't think they are now a World Series contender. And so I don't know. Part of it's probably that they've struck out so many times on different things at this point that they're kind of like, just give us someone. And when you trade for Brendan Donovan, he can't say no to you in free agency. You get him. But I mean, Jun-Ho Lee, Adames, Devers, Chapman, Donovan, maybe. But that rotation I don't love right now. You're talking about, I love Logan Webb, but then you're talking about Robbie Ray, Tyler Mahle, Hosier, and Rope. And then like their bullpen's pretty good. I just don't totally understand why the Giants are pushing the chips in right now. But they are the team that seems the most desperate right now, at least in terms of, did you see we don't know what they officially offered the Nationals, but like all of their top prospects were talked about, apparently. And then again, they were willing to put Gonzalez on the table, which that was crazy to me. And I do want to talk about, like you said, the CJ Abrams side of it, because Gonzalez is, according to Baseball America, the 30th ranked prospect in all of baseball, a 65 grade prospect, but with high risk. So he's more of like a 50 grade right now. 50 power, 45 power, or 50 hit, 45 power, 70 run, 70 field, 60 arm. He just turned 18 recently, so this first DSL year was always a 17-year-old. Again, there's a lot of projection here, so he could definitely be one of those guys who ends up being nothing or end up being incredible, but he's definitely got more upside than, he's not like Yuri Padilla right now, right? Like there's more there. But apparently he was on the table for CJ Abrams. And if we're comparing CJ Abrams and Brendan Donovan right now, yes, Abrams has one more year of club control. Point to him. He's 25 years old. Point to him. But dude has a 97 WRC plus, and him and Brendan Donovan both debuted in 2022. Abrams has a career 97 WRC plus. Brendan Donovan is 119. It's over 20% better. Abrams has played in more games than Brendan Donovan and has less WAR. 10.1 F4 for Brendan Donovan to Abrams 6.9 in like 40 more games played for Abrams. I get Abrams has a ton of potential, and you could argue, yes, there's more there than I think Brendan Donovan's closer to his ceiling than CJ Abrams is. But if the Giants are really trying to go in right now, I'm not saying they're going to put Gonzalez on the table for Donovan, but it does tell me if they're going that aggressively off CJ Abrams, then I would think what they're willing to give up for Brendan Donovan is probably pretty good. Uh-oh. We might have lost. Oh, there's Sand. Yeah, we lost you for saying you're muted, but... Oh, you got to unmute yourself. You are muted, sir. There you go.
Back now. Okay. Well, what I was going to say is you inspired me, and I was looking at the Giants roster, and I know I looked at it the other day, but it's just kind of goofy. It's like, look, who is Tyler Fitzgerald? That's the guy.
So, that is an interesting pairing with Donovan, though, because he has like an 800 plus OPS in his career against lefties. And so Donovan obviously wouldn't be sitting against lefties, but like I've seen someone talk about that where it's like they'd be a nice platoon option a second. You figure out.
But
Fitzgerald can play everywhere too.
At all. Okay. Fitzgerald last year finished with a 74 OPS plus.
But I think against lefties, it was still really good.
I'm sure. But that's a guy that got 72 starts at second base.
Yeah.
Like Dominic Smith was your first baseman who's now on the wrong side of 30 and is not an everyday player. I think the Giants lineup is weird. I honestly am not that impressed by it. And yeah, I'm with you. Like, I think it's kind of a weird time to go in, but if you're going to go in, you know, I don't know. I think they make a lot of sense for Brendan Donovan, though. I think that's for sure. You've got Rafael Devers. You went out and got aggressive and got him, took on all that money. So you kind of have a window that you just opened up that you kind of need to win now, and they have to get better this year. Like if the Giants, I think they're so aggressive because Buster Posey knows he can't run it back with what he's got.
Yeah.
Like you just can't run that team back. They won 81 games. Should they have won more than that? Probably not. And you play in a division that also includes the Padres, who are aggressive and going to try to get better every year. The Dodgers, who added Kyle Tucker to a 2-time defending World Series champ roster, and the Diamondbacks, who are also pretty good. And I know Casey Schmidt played a bunch of second base. I see this comment from Steve Wright. But he was also just fine last year. 0.6 WAR, 83 OPS plus. Oh, sorry, 101 OPS plus, so decent. But 0.6 WAR in 95 games. That is not a better player than Brendan Donovan. It's actually not a player in the same tier as Brendan Donovan.
Yeah. So to round it out a little bit and back to, because Jay had the comment earlier about, okay, like he's just a utility player. Just because, I mean, and he just put in the chat, and I think it's worth us discussing. If Donovan's valued that much by other teams, he would have been traded already. I mean, was Freddie Peralta not valued by other teams until a couple days ago when the trade went through? Was Kyle Tucker not valued by the free agent market until he signed that contract? Like, that's not, I don't think that's how you can grade an offseason. And then there's also the adverse effect of things. And like, we didn't know the Mets were a player. That, I mean, I don't know how much they talked to the Cardinals about Donovan, but apparently they were interested in Donovan if they hadn't gotten Bo Bichette. And so that what also tells me there may be other suitors out there that, like, Donovan wasn't toward the top of their plan A this offseason, but they do value him, and they may end up pivoting to him at some point where we might hear the Padres come out. Like, I don't know if it's Padres, but there might be some random team out there because of how much Donovan can fit for all these other teams that could go out there. And also Donovan, and part of the reason why he hasn't been traded yet is the Cardinals they do not have to make the trade. This isn't a guy where, talking about Corbin Burns a few years ago for the Brewers, where he only had 1 year left. Like, everyone knew they're going to trade Corbin Burns. It's not the trade deadline where you've got 3 months left, this guy needs to hit free agency. The Cardinals have 2 years of club control left with Brendan Donovan. And honestly, if they're going to trade him, they have to nail this one because he's their only asset that can get them something really good in return. And so the Cardinals have zero reason to cave on the asking price. And so it's going to take another team hitting the asking price. Even if Sandy was the GM of the Guardians right now, and I have Brendan Donovan, and I want, or sorry, if Sandy was the GM of the Cardinals right now and I'm Guardians, like, I don't want to give up what I think Brendan Donovan's worth. I want to give up less. Like,
yeah, I would love to try to freeze you out in that scenario. Absolutely.
And so I'm going to wait this out and see what happens. But at some point, it seems like the Cardinals, I mean, Chaim Bloom is not blinking. And he's like, we will take him to camp. We will take him.
Is an extension more likely now?
I don't know. I don't. The way everyone talks about it, I don't think it's likely, which sucks, but I don't think it's likely.
Yeah.
But I don't think, personally, I don't think that means you have to trade him now. Because you should have, even if I don't think it's likely, it should still be in your back pocket. Because at some point, if people aren't giving you what you think he's worth, then maybe he is. I mean, even though I think he's worth an extension no matter what, then maybe they look back and say, okay, maybe we should look at an extension. Or again, how you talked about, dude doesn't get hurt before the All-Star game. He's a 135 WRC plus bat to start the year. And I'm not saying he would stay up there, but if he's in the 120s, 125 at the deadline, or even producing like that, I don't think his value changes all that much. If not, maybe someone finally meets the asking price because they're seeing it in motion and they really need that bat. Because Nico Horn, I mean, I don't know, probably trying to be Cubs, but yeah, team has an injury. Camp, there might be an injury. So I don't know. I don't know if I'd say it's likely. I think it's probably, at this point, I'm down to 50-50 on if Brendan Donovan gets traded. I'm doing 55-45 if he gets traded because it does seem like things
45-55. Like, I think it's more likely he stays at this
things point. Are starting to pick up recently, which makes me think like, okay, maybe it's finally going to happen. And obviously when we're like none of us in the world believe Kyle Tucker wasn't going to finally sign with someone. And that's different. Or like Freddie Peralta, we all thought it was probably going to happen, but like, we're not staring at it all the time. So we're not like getting antsy about it. Like Brewer fans probably were, where they're probably like, oh, he's going to be here. So I don't know. We'll see. But I do want to get into the right-handed outfield bats conversation because I do think it's interesting to think about, competitive wise, it makes sense for roster building, but like when you're talking about a rebuild year, do you need that other bat? So let's talk about the options. Let's talk about what's going on with that. But as always, we want to thank the presenting sponsor of the Deal on the Cards podcast, and that's 314 Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're located at 9640 Olive Boulevard in Olivet. Open 10 to 5 Monday through Fridays and 10 to 4 on Saturdays and Sundays. You can buy, sell, and trade all sports cards and Pokemon cards and new selections of packs, boxes, and single cards of local players and stars from around the league. I was going to pull, I snagged this card, a nice little JD Drew.
Very exciting. I like that.
1988 Fleer update. Right. So you can find just really fun cards like this in stores or in 314 Sports Cards and Collectibles. You also find newest packs and boxes. Like there's going to be the new Topps Chrome updates coming out soon. The Bowman's first is out right now. You can go chasing for Liam Doyle or Reinald Rodriguez or JJ Weatherholt. So much fun stuff you can get there. So make sure you check out 314. They have awesome deals. They're great to work with, and we really appreciate them. Also, side note, did you see Dylan Carlson was at Cubs camp?
That's really funny, actually.
Apparently, they may have signed him to a minor league deal, but they're one of the reporters is like, we're not really sure, but he might have signed with the Cubs, which
he might just be there as like a fan.
It's pretty hilarious. But so anyways, right-handed bats. Obviously, the Cardinals are very left-handed bat heavy right now. Chaim Bloom himself has continued to bring this up as something they could potentially pursue. We did see recently Miguel Andujar and Austin Hayes as two guys. There's either Hayes or Slater that was linked to them. But then the other one is out there. There's other options too, like Randall Grichuk can make sense. I'm sure there's a few other bats out there. I guess my question to you first before we dive into which ones make the most sense. Do they need a right-handed bat? Like, I know they need one in terms of they don't have that besides Jordan Walker, but like, is it more important to get all these young guys playing time as much as possible? Or is it nice to have that? Because part of the development too is having a team around these guys where if you have a bunch of lefties and they're going to have to face lefties all the time because it tunnels well, then it's like, okay, well, they're getting their shots against lefties now, but like also we want to see these guys try to have some success against righties too. So I get that side of it. But do you think it's like a thing on the shopping list that they should be trying to check off, or is it like, if it comes to them, sure, but if not, it's whatever?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple things to this. Obviously, I don't know if they're in the outfield, if there's anybody that I'm like so excited about that I really need to see again this year, where I'm like, yeah, I would hate to see a right-handed bat platoon with that guy. Also, I think there's something to be said about not like forcing a team to just languish where they are. Like the Cardinals as currently constructed don't have a lot of talent. Like they're going to be bad. We've talked about this. And I think doing something competitive sends the right message to your team. And I think that's something they need to do. And also it sends the right message to your fans. Throw the fans a bone. I think like May was fine. I'm not super thrilled about May, but throw the teams a bone or throw the fans a bone and sign someone like Harrison Bader. That's my real hope. I think he'd be so much fun back in St. Louis, fan favorite. People would love to see him. And look at the center field options. Like Victor Scott is fine, and I'm fine if Victor Scott starts this year, but it's not like Victor Scott has been so good that you have to write his name in Sharpie. And the other option is Nathan Church, who's also left-handed. And it's not like he's been, incredible at the big league level. They're both great fielders. But I don't think there's anything wrong with a platoon in the outfield. I don't know. That's where I am. I think that you need to send the right message to these players and say, hey, we've got you. Like, we don't just want to make you suffer. We're not just going to scrap this team for parts. You know what I mean? That's kind of where I'm at on this, at least.
Yeah. And there's also the side of it where there's injuries as well too, right? Where
yeah.
No one's going to stay healthy all year. Like Newt might not even be on the opening day roster anyways. And if he is, does he get hurt again? Who knows?
And they are so left-handed heavy. You're so right.
Yeah. But then I think so the injuries, I think, play a factor in it. But then to Redbird Farmhand's point, and this is part of the reason why I'm like, do you need one? Is like, okay, I think, like, let's go through it. I think Vic probably plays almost every day, if not every day.
I'm not enamored with the idea of Vic playing every day if your lineup's going to be this bad. But I guess you don't need to win. So it's fine.
Yeah, well, that's the other side of it. Is like, I mean, if you're talking about you need to win every game, then yeah, he probably shouldn't be starting against lefties right now. But also, like, who are you putting in there? Nathan Church? So, like, you don't have a center fielder right now that play right-handed. I don't even, on the free agent market, I mean, maybe Randall Grichuk can play a little bit of center field right now, but it's definitely a major step back defensively. I don't really see a right-handed center fielder makes a ton of sense. So I think Vic's probably playing every day. Yvonne's probably playing every day, obviously not every day a catcher, but he's probably either DHing or catching every day, maybe the outfield. Burley's probably playing every day. I think JJ Weatherholt, Mason Winter probably playing every day. And so that's like 5 of your guys in your lineup that are playing almost every day at this point. So you don't have a lot of guys that, like, they just, in the past, they historically don't really rotate guys very often. And so, like, Ollie doesn't, I guess, is my point with that. And so I start to wonder a little bit about, do they, oh my gosh, JJ Mason would play center. That'd be funny.
His arm in center field would be electric.
Yeah, I prefer to keep it at shortstop right
No,
now.
I
But
understand. I understand.
so I guess, and then you could sprinkle JC at bats into the corner outfield. I mean, I feel like that makes sense. You do have Jose Fermin there, who again I don't have a lot of optimism on, but I know for a fact there are people in the Cardinals organization who want to see Jose Fermin get more of a shot. They do believe there's more in there. So like, do you value giving Jose, like having the opportunity for Jose Fermin to take at bats, or do you get Austin Hayes? There's the side of it too where you're like, well, okay, if Austin Hayes is really good, you flip him at the deadline. I don't really like platoon 1 year right-handed bats don't really ever get you much anyways. Like at most it's going to get you like a 28th ranked prospect in someone's system, which is something. So it's not impossible to get, but I'm just like, do you play the card trying to maybe have that happen for you at some point? Or do you just give those at-bats to JC? Or just give those at-bats to Fermin? Now, again, 2 or 3 injuries happen, and we're talking about some weird lineups out there. So it's not like they have so many guys that need to play, but I just wonder how valuable it is beside trying to win more games and be more competitive. And I just feel like every year we're always talking about, even with, yes, there could be more at-bats for guys going around because of injury, there's always a few guys that were like, man, I wish that guy got more at-bats right now. Like Gorm, inconsistent during the year. There are times where JC, obviously he was struggling, but it's like, okay, well, let's get more at-bats. There were times where Walker wasn't playing a lot. So I think I'd probably, like, if there's a guy out there they think get for 1 or 2 million, which I mean, I think there will be one. I'm definitely not gonna not like it if they do it, but I'm also not clamoring for it at this point because I think I'd rather just let JC play more, let Gorham play more, let Fermin play more, let Church play more. Maybe in the year, later in the year, and this is a big maybe, and very later in the year, maybe Baez plays a little bit. Make sure Walker's playing every day. Oh, Kareem said it right as I did.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking probably July, August at that point so it's still ways away. I don't know. I just also Crooks. Like, what do you do with him? Because if you have Pajes and Ivan Herrera, you got to find out bats for Crooks in there too.
True. I mean, like if you added an outfielder though, a right-handed outfielder, is there trade value at the deadline? Like Harrison Bader could bring you a haul. At the deadline.
So that's the one. I think Bader's the one you could potentially.
Bader's the only one that makes sense to me. The other guys, I'm like, whatever. The other guys, first off, like Miguel Andujar, I'm not that excited. You know, like he's had hot streaks in his career, and he's also had times where he's virtually unplayable. It's a real question of like, you already probably have too many mouths to feed, especially in your infield. But also it's like, does he even make you better? And is there even value at the deadline? Like there's every chance that he's just awful. I think Bader makes a lot, like he's the only guy I'd be looking for. And I know he's more expensive and there's definitely other people that want Harrison Bader right now.
Yeah.
So maybe he's holding out and he's a $15 million player. And if that's the case, fine. You don't have to make that happen. But I think that is the only one that makes sense to me.
So, I mean, I do think I'll push back a little bit about not giving value in terms of the actual, like, on the field. Andujar's a 171 against left-handed pitching WRC plus this year. Grichuk was a 139, and that was in a down year for him against lefties because usually he's a lot better.
How many at-bats did Andujar get against lefties, though?
I'll look in a second.
Actually big.
Slater's a 119 for his career against Southpaws. And then Austin Hayes, it was a 155 this past year against lefties. Again, they're small sample sizes, but for their careers, all these guys hit lefties too. So they have value. Now, where I was saying I agree with you on Bader is that I don't know if Andujar, Hayes, or Slater have good years for you as a platoon right-handed bat against left-handed pitching. Those guys tend to not really do anything for you on the trade market. Like you're talking about Paul DeJong for Matt Simonson, which could end up working out. So like you could make that type of swing to see if you hit on a guy like that again, but it's more likely than not it's not going to work. So at that point, do you value the at-bats? Bader is interesting to me because if he does sit out there, I think Bader's a guy who can get you a decent amount more in a trade potentially if he has a good year. And so maybe he's not getting that deal he wants out there right now. It takes a pillow contract with the Cardinals, and we'll see. So that's the one that I think at the end of Harrison Bader, I really like it from the fact that I think you can end up getting something for him later. But when it comes to Andujar, Hayes, or Slater, I'm thinking it's more at that point. You're really getting them for the fact that it helps balance your lineup out more, which is helping the development of everyone. I mean, Tommy Pham's out there, right? I don't know if they run a third time, though.
Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of fun, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to address this comment too. 76% of pitchers are right-handed. Why are you all so concerned about hitting lefties? Team OPS versus right-handed pitching wins World Series. While that's true, the Cardinals have been abysmal against left-handed pitching recently.
Yep.
Like you have to be able to hit lefties because one, like team bullpens, you see them for a 3-game series. If you've got some rested lefties, you might see them 3 times in a 3-game series. Yep. You might see the same setup guy 3 nights in a row, down 2-1, and not be able to score. You know what I mean? Like you might see teams can structure things. Give a guy an extra day of rest and let the lefty pitch against the Cardinals. We don't want to just be a free win for whoever's got a left-handed starter. Like last year, if you were a lefty with a pulse, you cooked the Cardinals. And that can't happen. Like that just can't be happening. You can't be letting teams call up whoever from AAA to pitch against the Cardinals because he throws from the left side and you know he's going to give you 6 innings of shutout baseball. It can't happen. So I understand, you're going to face a lot more righties this year and you need to be able to hit righties, but you can't be a one-dimensional team.
So guess how many people on the Cardinals last year had a WRC plus above 100 against lefties last year?
0, 1,
4. 2 of them are no longer on. Oh yeah. But there you go. Go ahead.
Okay, so Wilson Contreras is definitely 1.
Yep.
Nolan Arenado's right-handed. He's probably 1.
Yep. He's a 102.
Really well in his career. 102.
One of them's going to surprise you.
Is Ivan one?
Yeah, Ivan is. I mean, Ivan was a 205. He was insane.
I love it.
But he goes 205, 142 to Wilson, 106 to mystery name 102 Nolan Arenado.
Yeah. Okay.
So it'll surprise you.
It's not Alec Burleson.
No, but
because he got better against lefties last year though.
He did, but then it got a little overstated because he was a 98 WRC plus during the first half. Yes, he did, but then he started to fall off a little bit. It's not Pies. It was Nolan Gorman. It was Nolan Gorman, really? But 106.
What kind of sample are we looking at though?
At least 50 plate appearances.
Okay.
So because Baker was on there, but like he had 14.
Pozo made a lot of sense.
Or 36, something like that. So like now again, I agree. And that's why I've really actually with Uncle Ted, I agree with you that yes, you don't like I'd rather have a lot of lefties than not. But the Cardinals have done a really good job accumulating them. And I remember writing something about it recently. I'm like, man, especially if they end up being a team worthy of making the playoffs. If you and with this is when we're still looking at, well, who's Gorm going to be? Who's Newt's going to be? Donnie's really good. It's like that's a really great efficiency to have a lot of young left-hand bats that can hit. But remember 2022 and 2021 when it was the opposite, where they struggled against righties, but they always raked lefties because you had Goldie, Nato, Tyler O'Neill, even Yachty kind of hit them a little bit. Like you had a team. It's flipped the other way where you do hit left-hand. Well, you hit right-handed pitching better. I wouldn't say you hit it well because if you flip the numbers, it's not ideal. You have a 140 from Alec Burleson, 132 from, this is against righties, 140 from Donovan, 130 from Alec Burleson, 130 from Fermin, 117 from Contreras, 112 from Ivan, 108 from Newt. So you have 6 guys above league average. On the other side, right now, you have 2 guys that are above league average. One is unworldly in Ivan, and one is Nolan Gorman, where it's like, when I said it, it should have surprised everyone. So I don't know.
I really believe that that's going to happen.
And he has gotten better against lefties. But again, if you're talking about Nolan Gorman as your second best hitter against lefties right now,
bad.
That ain't good. And so does Walker take a step forward? Maybe. Can Pajes help a little bit, or Pozo? I mean, maybe. Like I don't know if Pozo is willing enough for play. Is JJ Weatherholt part of that equation? Is New, like I don't know, but I do think that's the argument for do you add one? Because I mean, if you are trying to develop guys, being unplayable against lefties probably doesn't help. And to your point, late in games, how deflating it will be for a young Cardinal team if they're actually winning games and playing well, and then they bring in their 2 lefties from the bullpen, they shut you down, they come back and win, and it just keeps happening over and over again.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the problem. Like you just, it felt like last year there were guys that like absolute randos that just embarrassed the Cardinals because they pitched from the left side. And when Ivan wasn't hot, was there going to be any offense? Yeah. Like I don't want to go into a game against a lefty this year, especially you're right. If they're like kind of fun and kind of a goofy fun team in June and we're like, hey, they're kind of hanging around 500, and then see them lose 3 straight games because another team lines up 2 lefty starters and calls somebody up from AAA. Albert was the best. Watching him smash left-handed pitching. I actually want to look at those numbers real quick. I'm going to
pull Albert play center?
Would Albert
imagine
center field, but only on days where lefties start, be more valuable than
Victor Scott? Probably not, but oh my gosh. Also, thanks Nelia for the super chat.
This is just the greatest. I miss Albert so much.
We do miss Albert. So anyways, I think that's the argument. I feel like this is a topic where I feel like I've talked both sides of my mouth where I'm like, they don't need it. They need it. They don't need it. They need it. I'm just saying in terms of if you're
Dude.
thinking about the rebuild and trying to get value back, I don't really think unless it's Bader, it's going to get you value back. And
Listen,
it potentially takes away plate appearances from someone, but here's going to be a good pool hole stat.
Against lefties at the young age of 42 years old in 2022, Albert in 130 plate appearances hit 13 bombs.
My gosh. Let me guess the WRC plus. It was like 215, wasn't it?
Yeah, 214.
Oh, I was so close.
Yeah.
I almost said 213.
He was 152% better than a regular hitter in the positions he showed up in against lefties.
Insane.
Yeah, based on like the pitchers. So he faced a lot of bad pitchers, but also not really. He was awesome. 1.146 OPS, 746 slug, 400 OBP, 351, and only 19 strikeouts in 130 plate appearances.
That's insane.
I would never have pitched him if I was a lefty. It was actually ridiculous that they ever did.
Yeah.
Having a weapon like that just like feels good for a team too. Like
Mm-hmm.
even if it's an Austin Slater who's going to be on your bench a little bit, or it just like on days where these guys don't start, Randall Grichuk, it's really nice as a manager. Like equip your manager. You know, the Cardinals should be looking out for Ollie here. Equip your manager and give him someone to bring into a game. It's got to suck if you're Victor Scott and you're kind of having a down week or a down month and another lefty, you know, and it's like, yeah, get out there, take 4 at-bats tonight and embarrass yourself, strike out 3 times, try to put the ball in play. That sucks. It'd be really nice for the Cardinals to have somebody that they can turn to, come off the bench in a big situation. Like the last thing you want to see is some Nathan Church start where he's up there with the bases loaded and 1 out with a lefty on the mound. It's like, really? Like equip your team.
I would be interested. Bader, I feel like would be weird. I mean, you can make it fit, but it'd be kind of weird with Donovan around. But if you traded Donovan, I mean, who's he taking away plate appearances from? It's Gorm. I mean,
because you could DH Bader like a decent amount too.
Yeah, or you could probably DH Newt when he's back, or Walker. Like,
yeah,
I mean, you probably keep
corner.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd rather have Bader in a corner than DHing. Like, he's a great defender.
Yeah, that's true.
And then he could spell
Walker in a corner.
Yeah, and then he could spell VS2 in center field.
Yeah, and also it's just like, do you really feel good entering the season? Like, I know it's not about winning this year, but how great do you feel entering the season? And you're like, yeah, it's Victor Scott and Nathan Church.
I mean, yeah, I don't, but
it's not.
I mean,
they've got to show something this year.
Yeah, and fool me once, fool me twice, fool me 3 times. They say it. I mean, there's a guy every year that they pump up, and sometimes it's the right guy, and sometimes it's not. But clearly, I mean, at Winter Warm Up, they were all about Victor Scott. Like,
and I hope that's true.
I think he's he's a hard worker. He's a guy that a lot of these guys need to continue to emulate and how he goes about things. Great dude. I want the success for him. So I'm not in a year like this. I'm fine with him running with center field. Like, especially because you don't have another option. It's like, I don't care what Nathan Church does for me out there that much, unless he proves otherwise. Like, I really love Sajaci, and I think Gorm starts fitting this too, where it's like, if the at bats work for you, they work for you. If they don't, I'm not that opposed. But then when we're talking about with a guy like Bader, I don't care what it does to those guys necessarily. But when we're talking about Andujar or Hayes or Slater, that's when I start to be like, okay, is it more valuable to get Gorm more at bats though, or to have Slater around? Is it more beneficial for Sajaci to have more playing time or to have Austin Hayes? Like, I think that's a real question. Yeah. But if they decide to add a right-handed bat, it makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
Bring back Goldie. No, that will not happen.
Bring Darvish out of retirement and let him hit.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Well, I'm not sure he's retired. It was kind of a weird situation, some strange reporting. Interesting thing.
Oh, man. Hey, we've had a really fun turnout today. So hit the like button on the stream. It really helps a ton. And again, it's free. It's super easy to do. And it really helps our stream. So please, 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 if you hit the like button, we really appreciate that. And hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. We always appreciate the support, especially like and review on audio as well. I'm trying to see in the chat if there's any other. Oh, yeah, Matt Adams looked fit. There's anything else?
Yeah, does anyone have any burning desires for us to talk about as we kind of wind down? There's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, it's been a fun offseason, I think. More fun than I thought it would be. Actually, I have a good question for you.
Yeah, but I also want to plug for you guys. Birds on the Farm tomorrow.
Real.
So make sure you go check that out.
It's
give people a quick preview what's going to happen. or what you got going
Yeah,
on?
well, we recorded it today, so it'll be out tomorrow. But Kareem and I were joined by Redbird Farmhands, and we broke down the new Baseball America Top 100, the new MLB Pipeline Top 100, some guys that we think could be fast risers in this next year, including Clark, Tanner Franklin, some fun names, Ryan Mitchell, some very exciting names in the Cardinals system. Then we talked through some of the international signees, including Manuel Luna, who's probably the most exciting guy the Cardinals have signed in the international pool since 2016, 2017
Nice.
with
Yeah.
Jonathan Machado. And then we also had a little bit of Donnie chatter. So should be a lot of fun. So go check that out. But I have a good question for you, Josh, actually. I've seen all sorts of, Twitter off-season tier lists, and everybody's putting the Cardinals in F tier. And I don't think that's actually fair. I don't think that's accurate. I mean, it's like big brand people who aren't plugged in and probably don't know what's going on or how Cardinals fans feel. But throwing the Cardinals in F tier is crazy. I think they've had, even if they don't trade Donovan, or even if they don't trade or extend Donovan, I think the very worst you can call this is a B tier offseason. I think it's been very successful. You shipped off pieces, you shaved down payroll, you brought in legitimate talent, and you've got a team that's positioned next year to start moving in the right direction. Maybe not in the win-loss column, but certainly in the development column. And there's a lot of guys, at least in the system, that I'm really, really excited to watch.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I feel like I especially I saw Kareem putting here B-. They don't trade Donnie. I mean, I don't feel like that's, for me, I don't think it's fair to say, because I don't know what the offers are for Brendan Donovan right now. And you're not talking about a guy 1 year left of control. You could trade him at the deadline, trade him next offseason. So that's we need to see this play out longer. Not having traded JoJo yet is kind of surprising to me too. And that's another way that they can add a little bit more.
Probably never showed up. Because if I'm a contender, one, I'm still probably going to be a contender regardless of what I do in my bullpen at the deadline, and I can add then. And two, why would I? Because JoJo is going to make $6 million this year in the end of arbitration. Why would I trade talent and pay $6 million for a reliever that probably in a vacuum is worth $8 million? Yeah, this version of JoJo, because the advanced metrics don't say he's year to year volatility reliever proof. He's good, but the metrics don't love him. It's not, I'm not talking about Devin Williams or Ryan Helsley before the Mets.
I'm far less upset that they haven't traded him this. I'm not upset at all they haven't traded him, because to all those points you made, it was the deadline that I was like, how is there not a deal?
Missed the boat on JoJo at the deadline, and there was never going to be a deal for JoJo this offseason. Maybe there was, but I just didn't see. I don't see teams feeling that way when you've got all of these free agents. Would I rather pay $6 million plus, if the Cardinals ate all the money on a JoJo deal, maybe, because then he's just a free agent that you sign with prospects. But that's not what he is for the most part. And I don't think the Cardinals are going to do that. That's sort of weird.
So
don't do that.
Here's something, it's related to what Sorry I'm Late Boss said. If I will say, even though it's not fully positive reason why the Cardinals are being talked about, it is nice that they're being talked about a lot more in the past couple of years. That's part of the reason I actually think this is more of a B offseason, could get up to A, is because Dime's doing stuff. Even in a rebuild, even in a teardown, you move Nato, which I think there are a lot of people that were I don't know if you're going to be able to do that. They did it. They got Brandon Clark and Richard Fitz for Sonny Gray, which I think if you told me that before the offseason, I would have been whoa, okay, that's pretty impressive. The Will Contreras deal I thought was pretty solid. I we'll see what happens. Nothing crazy, but I think it's a solid return. You did bring in a Dustin May. You have brought in Stanek so far. You've done a lot of things in the rebuild type year to craft in the right direction. And I also think you're talking about behind the scenes work that they're continuing to do too, which I factor those things into an off season. I'd give it a B. I think this is moving the ship into the right direction, where it was in a really weird spot when Bloom took over. It just was. And I feel there's a lot of positive momentum for a really good reason. And you can't do everything at once. I think that's also something I'm trying to give him credit for too, is the work they've done on the major league side, while he's also trying to balance accelerating things on the minor league side. And it just makes me want to bang my head against a wall about how did they not do anything at the major league level last offseason when Bloom was working all that Mo? It's you didn't hire a GM because you thought you could handle it. And again, the Nato stuff, I'm not going to blame on him. That's different. But they could have done something with Newt. They could have done something with JoJo. They could have. I mean, the Sonny and Wilson wanted to stay, so that didn't matter as much. But it just felt like a very incomplete unsatisfactory offseason, even if there were things that
Helsley
tied
was a good
Rams
enough
up.
player that he could have been traded in the offseason.
Yes, Helsley,
Closer that he actually
Fetty.
Well, we can talk. We can there were offers for Fetty. That's the craziest part. Like teams were interested. Steven Matz probably carried a little bit of value as a starter, Swiss Army knife kind of guy. Like,
yeah.
man,
I mean, they ended up getting Blaze, which, I mean, I would have thought, I mean, that's probably the best. I mean, I don't even know if they would have gotten that last offseason for Matz, considering the year he was coming off of.
Yeah.
Because he had a great 2020, or great, he had a good 2025 and just got Blaze. But I mean, again, talking about half a season left. But
yeah. Hey, some people think Blaze is going to be like the next big thing in St. Louis. So
yeah. So I personally, I would give it a B right now. I would say it could get up to an A if they nail the Donnie trade or do something else that I can't see. But also these are hard to grade too, because we are talking about prospects, right? Where it's like, of course, like Clark could end up being awesome, could end up never making the major leagues. Like he just had surgery already. I don't know if you saw that. He already had surgery with the Cardinals, which actually it seems like a good thing. It seems like they might have figured out the reason his hand goes numb. He's been having blister issues, or fingers goes numb. Made a procedure. It seems like he'll be ready to start the throwing program when camp comes around. Obviously, it might be a little bit of a delayed start for 2026, but again, if you can solve this issue, that's huge. But he also could be bad. And then it's like, okay, then we look back on that trade and say, then it really didn't matter that much. So these are the off seasons where it's a lot harder to grade than when you're pushing the chips in and contending. It's like, oh, they went and signed Bo Bichette and traded for Freddie Peralta. That was so exciting. A+ offseason. Harder to trade when it's this. Or grade.
To feel that, like, to what's the word here? To apply that framework to like another team, okay? How many other teams off seasons would be far more exciting and, I don't know, would grade far higher if you made that kind of move and went and got a Brendan Donovan?
Whoa, full circle.
That's how I feel. I don't understand why teams don't want to make these. You've got to be more aggressive for some of these teams. I think the Tigers make a lot of baseball sense too. You know, like you started Trey Sweeney, and I know he's a shortstop, and Donovan's not going to play shortstop, but you started Trey Sweeney like 100 times last year, and he played all over the place. Like Donovan is surely better than Trey Sweeney. Even at shortstop, Donovan would give you more value than that guy. I don't think that's the best way to use Donovan. You know, he would have ranked second on their team last year in WRC plus, second in Detroit's lineup, and that's a lineup that includes Spencer Torkelson, Riley Green, and Kerry Carpenter, and Dylan Dingler. Like names that people really like, really good players. So I know that's kind of full circle. It's kind of like, you know, rehashing a conversation we've already had. But I think if the Cardinals are able to move Donovan and they get the return that Donovan is worth, not like if they fleece somebody, but if they get the return he's worth, I think this becomes an A, maybe even an A+ offseason for the Cardinals, considering what they've done. And I think it'd also be a better offseason for someone else. It's kind of one of those weird moves where you're not just trying to force something. It's like you can talk about Brendan Donovan for 15 different teams and it makes baseball sense.
Yeah. And I'm still convinced that if he's traded, and I'm not just saying, like, I'm not like I've been a huge Brendan Donovan fan before we've gotten to know him. Continue to be after. I genuinely think these fan bases that are crying and being like, Brendan Donovan's not worth that much, once they acquire Brendan Donovan and see him play, they're going to be very happy they have him. Like, I don't think this is like where Eric Fetty, where I'm like, please get rid of him. I didn't think he'd be that bad, but like, let's just sell now while we can. It's like, I want Brendan Donovan here. And a million other scenarios, I think the Cardinals would too. This is not the scenario that they want to prioritize keeping him. I get it. It's whatever. Still think you could keep him, but they're not going to. I think he's going to be a very good player for someone else. I actually think some of his best years, I don't know if he'll carry the same 5-year stretch that he has or 4-year stretch he's had here at St. Louis into the next one. We'll see, because he will be entering his 30s and it's hard to project that kind of stuff. But definitely wouldn't be surprised if the best years are ahead of him.
Yeah, wouldn't be shocked at all. It's a skill set that should age pretty well. You're not relying on like necessarily elite defense or crazy speed, and you're not relying on the type of power that can fall off a cliff when you're 33, 34 years old. You're relying on a guy that has elite plate discipline, gap to gap power, and makes great contact. Those are things you can do for a long time in this game. And
I'll be interested to see too. I've started to see some national talk start to talk about, is there an efficiency, or is there like, are we going to start to see a movement toward high bat to ball skills, high hit tools? Like just the game it seems like there are players who are starting to kind of carve out more value in that way, where it's not like hit tool Luis Arise, but like guys like Brendan Donovan, where, they're not going to hit 30 home runs, but they still got enough pop, 10, 15, like 15, 20 home run pop, 14 home run, whatever, but hit for a high average, get a lot of doubles. Like that's a very valuable kind of player to have in your lineup. And so again, whether it's Seattle, San Francisco, Boston, some mystery team. Like if someone comes out and makes that deal for Donovan, even if it's going to cost you a lot, because I mean it's one of the things too. Like when the Cubs went and got Aroldis Chapman at a deadline a long time ago in 2016, like they won a World Series from it, but they gave up a massive price for it. And so yeah, when you're trying to push your chips in now, yeah, it's going to cost you things in the future that you wish you had, like Jordan Montgomery trade. Now Takeo Roby, we'll see what happens to JC, but in that like that could end up being something where the Rangers give up a young controllable arm in the middle rotation arm for a long time, where it's like, yeah, for half a season of a pitcher, that's kind of tough to give up, but like that's the price you pay to keep going. So, but even then, I think Donovan's gonna be very worth it for another team, and so I hope he gets to stay in St. Louis. Love to see an extension. Probably not gonna happen. So I just want them to maintain the line. Do not cave in on the asking price. Don't do it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, because the last thing I want is for the Cardinals to go get Brendan Donovan, or for the Cardinals to ship Brendan Donovan out and just be like bummed at the return. Be like, really? I'd rather just have him on the team. Because he's still going to be good in St. Louis next year. You know, if Brendan Donovan's on the team, we're going to be more fun to watch, and he's still going to be a productive player because that's what he does.
Yeah, I would be curious. I tried to do a little bit this offseason, but like I've seen like Brian threw out like what is it, like 65 for 5, 72 for 5. I think it's more.
It's more than that.
I mean, because you're talking about a guy who produces surplus value of 20 plus. I think on the open market right now, you could argue he's a $20 million player, if not a little bit more. You are buying out 2 RBers. You're not making that much, but I don't think only 13 AAV is going to get it done. I think you're talking about, for an extension now, talking about 16 minimum, but probably like 17, 18, 19 AAV. I think probably is more getting it done. If you're talking about a 5-year deal,
proposal that made a lot of sense to me.
What was that?
5 for 90. I saw it kind of made a lot of sense to me. Like that kind of feels like it's right in the sweet spot.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably the sweet spot where the Cardinals would do it, and maybe Brendan Donovan would do it. But that's the tough part about making extensions this late in arbitration, is like they can always kind of be like, well, I'm so close to free agency, should I take this? And the team is like, and the team's looking at that number, and it's like, well, it's a savings, but not that much of a savings from free agency. That's where I feel like it'd been really nice if they just did it 2 years ago or even last offseason. But whatever. Yeah, LA is going to end up paying him $30 million. So,
I mean, that's the whole. Andrew's not on here to shut us up, but that's the whole like problem with these giant market teams and these mega contracts. It's pricing semi-elite talent at ridiculous levels, where it's like Brendan Donovan, if he got a contract from LA, would be $25 million.
For kids are going to be so disappointed in me for not making a 6'7" joke.
Terrible.
That was Andrew baited it. Andrew baited it.
He totally did. He wanted it, but that's the problem. But I don't want to. You don't want me to talk about this right now.
I promise between now and next episode we'll have more soundboard options besides 6'7". I just think it's funny because I like when pods, I think it's fun when they have a little soundboard. So I'm like, we need to have more of that. But
I like it.
So we'll get it. I love you, Kareem. I just don't agree with this. I don't agree that not trading him right now is malpractice, because I just don't think. Maybe he's right. Like, I don't know what the offers are coming through, but I also don't think like inherently if they don't trade him now, that it's a swing and a miss and they mess this up big time. Because I think that's part of the reason they have leverage is they don't have to do it right now, and so. Yeah. I don't think you have to make that trade. I think you could make it the deadline. And there's a world where he's worth a little bit less or 20% less at the deadline. Yeah, sure. But also I could see him, especially if he's having a really strong first half, really not being that much of a difference. So I especially being that extreme with it, I definitely disagree. Malpractice. Is it disappointing if that's their end goal, that they're going to end up trading him? Then yeah, you would think it makes more sense now. But I just see a lot of scenarios where they can make this work well later if they have to.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I go back and forth on this. Sometimes I'm like, just take the offer you get, but we just don't know what the offers are. Like, what if the offers suck? That's the issue. Maybe Seattle's not even willing to put like their switch pitcher, Durangelo Cincho, on the market. And it's like, well, if he's not available, man, like I really want Ryan Sloan. I'm not as excited about him. And I'm definitely not as excited about some of the other arms they might be including that are farther away and less appealing. So who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows if the Giants, if Josué Gonzalez was available, yeah, it'd be crazy to not go get him from the Giants. Like, you want that 55 to 60 FV player if he's available. But if other teams are offering you a 45 and 240s, like, no.
Yeah.
Not exciting.
And especially because at this point, like, who else is going to get them that kind of value in the trade market?
Nobody.
Yeah, I mean, unless this ends up being they keep flipping guys for another 2 years, I don't. Oh my gosh, Andrew just super chatted to get a Sandy Dodgers rant. I'll let you do it. We'll end on that. But like, I think you gotta nail this. You gotta get that value back, or else it's not gonna hurt you. But you're also not desperate for talent in the system. Like, yes, you always want more, but it's a really strong system right now. That I'm not saying they're done adding to it, but if you're gonna add to it, I want that 55. You're not gonna get a 60, but like I want that top end talent. I want to squeeze as much juice out of this as this orange as possible, or crazy idea, keep them around long term.
I don't want to squeeze as much juice. I want the best juice.
That's true. I don't want a bunch of quarters. I want 75 cents plus a quarter.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. Because if you think about why does Fangraphs rank the Cardinals system number 1 in baseball right now? Because they are so strong in the middle of their system. They have so many 40 to 45 future value players, a ton of 35, 30s, like guys that could make a big league roster and play, but not guys that project to be stars. And maybe those guys turn out to be better than they're supposed to be right now. But like the Cardinals don't need quantity right now. They need quality. So if I'm trading Brendan Donovan, no, I don't want 4 mid prospects. I want 1 great prospect. Prospects are prospects. I get it. But quantity over quality has worked well for the Cardinals to build the system to where it is now. But you take the next step by adding that high ceiling talent. You take the next step by adding, the people that prospect gurus are excited about. That's how you get back at this point.
So I'll let you, because we have to honor the super chat to your Dodgers rant, but also just strongly disagree with this. And I don't even understand how it's an argument to say Donnie becoming Dylan Carlson, because Dylan Carlson had 1 pretty good rookie year. He's about Brendan Donovan's an all-star, Gold Glover, 4 years of consistent production put together at this point, a 119 WRC plus, where I don't even know if Carlson ever put up that kind of offensive production. I think he was a 111 in his best year, 2.4 win player, which Donnie's already done that multiple times. Like, not the same type of thing at all. He's never reached, like, he was definitely a lot more prospect pedigree, but never reached the kind of production at the major league level that Donovan put together. But
even if Donovan takes a significant step backwards this year, I'm not going to revise my take, because that's just hindsighting. Like right now, it seems super unlikely that Donovan does that. That's not the player he's been for, 4 years now for you. Like, even if he takes a major step backwards and is worth significantly less the next time you go around and have to figure this out, that doesn't mean we're wrong right now to believe that's not going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, we have the available information. We have information that's available right now, and it's that Donovan's really good. So,
and you already have us. And I've seen even from Sam, a knee spot from JJ. You already cleared it. You've got that spot. Like Gorm and Sajc. I mean, Gorm can play DH. I mean, even with this line right now, if you keep Brendan Donovan, I guess Yvonne's going to DH days.
Stops me from playing JJ.
Yeah, JJ plays every day. You don't have to clear. You've already cleared that spot. Even if Nato here, JJ should have played every day. Like with Donnie. Like
anybody trying to like force Sajc into the lineup at JJ's expense, that's malpractice. That's actually crazy.
Yeah. So, anyways, do your Dodger rant, because
well, I mean,
Andrew wants to make a reel, and then we'll move on.
What do you think about the Freddie Peralta trade, right? Like, what do you think about a potential Scooble trade coming up? And I see all these. I think the thing that makes me so mad is the fact that fans of these big market teams, specifically the Dodgers fans on Twitter have been insufferable. But it's Dodgers fans, like a little bit of Phillies fans, a little bit of Blue Jays fans, and then a lot of Mets fans, Yankees fans. They say the same thing. It's this annoying line that's like, oh, small market teams are ruining baseball. And they throw around these stupid graphics. They're fake graphics, okay, that are inaccurate, that don't represent the TV revenue, or that don't represent operating costs. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, everyone should invest the same amount of revenue into their team. Well, it doesn't work that way, because you're dealing with percentages of numbers that are different sizes, and you have fixed costs. I don't know why people can't figure that out. But the big thing is, it's impossible to sign extensions if you're a small market team at this point. Like, you can't extend true stars. The Reds offered to make Elly De La Cruz the highest paid Red in team history. And I know that he's probably right now worth more than $250 million, but is he really worth more than $300 million? Like, what's the gap here? I see people saying, who was it that said Elly De La Cruz could be $1 billion player? That's terrible. That's not true. Elly De La Cruz is not a $1 billion player. And even if he was, it's because somebody's going to give him a contract that grossly overestimates his value. And that's the problem with what's happening right now. That's the problem with the Tucker deal, the Soto deal, the Ohtani deal. Contracts have exploded in value over the last few years and while revenue has gone up, it has not matched that. And so when teams are basically willing to say, we're going to just blow anything you've ever done out of the water, it makes it impossible for small market teams to have any leverage when they come into negotiations. The Tigers absolutely cannot make Tarek Skubal a $500 million player. They just can't. It's too risky. If he blows out his elbow, it's over. The Dodgers can, because if he gets hurt, they can just write that cost off along with other bad contracts they've signed in the past. And they're still going to continue to make a ton of money. They're still going to continue to be a very profitable franchise and a very competitive franchise. Whereas the Tigers would have an albatross on the books for the next 10 years, you'd struggle to recover from it, and they'd be terrible. So that's the real issue. It's that by pricing people out of these, huge markets and then it's trickled downstream now where Cody Bellinger is a $32.5 million AAV player. That's crazy talk. He is not a $32.5 million player. And now teams are priced out of that market. And so now you have teams like the Brewers where Freddie Peralta is not a top 5 pitcher in baseball, but he's a top 15, top 20 pitcher in baseball. And now they feel that they can't retain him. There's no way he was ever going to sign an extension in Milwaukee. So I don't want to hear anybody say that he should have. And it made sense to trade him. Get that value. That's what you have to do. They're going to turn all of these teams into the Rays, where you have no leverage when you enter contract extension talks. It's impossible to win on the open market. So yeah, every time you move into arbitration, you're committing to losing a player. That's where you are.
I think Andrew got his rant.
I hope he did. I hope he's satisfied. I was pissed. I was pissed off the other day looking through stuff. It's just
I'll probably two things real quick. Kareem, again, I don't think either of us said they aren't getting good offers or they're getting bad offers. It's just if they don't feel like they got the offer they need, I'm trusting Chaim on this one, and I'm trusting what they want. Now, here's where I'll say an example of what. So from Woo's report mid-December, they were talking to Seattle about how do you say his last name again? Switch pitcher. I always my brain just blanks. Sinche, whatever, and Montez. Okay, that I feel like is a strong asking price. And if they're trying, I mean, we don't fully know, but they've discussed those two. If that's what they want, I like that. I like that they're holding the line on that. From the Giants, it was Gavin Klein and Carson Wisenhunt, which I actually am not really high on those two, but that's number 2, number 7 prospects in their system. Well, that's by pipeline before. I don't even know what Baseball America or pipeline have them at now, but those are the kind of lines that they're holding around there a little bit higher than I like it. But it's just hard. I mean, we won't know until we get real reports about what was declined or put on the table for both sides of the argument, or we won't know until a trade happens what they were willing to go for. So that's where I'm just saying right now I'm trusting that they're doing the right thing with it because I saw what they got for what they did with Sonny Gray and Nato and Contreras, and I think they've been handling these right. I know Bloom has a history in the past that he's kind of hold too highly to certain guys or maybe too long at different times, and Mo got that before too. But I do think, especially in this situation where he is name one other guy who can get them a good asking price. I can't name one right now. So I do think it's interesting what hypothetical from Farmhands that we can get going to. He said, would you give today Donnie 80 over 4 years? That's tough. I think I would do 5.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Because at that point, you're talking about buying out. So if he's worth 23 in the open market right now, 22, you're giving him a $16 million raise. Well, I guess, okay, never mind. You're talking about, actually, never mind. I would do that because in my head, I've been baking in this extension with this year the whole time because they already settled on ARB. So you're talking about buying 3 years of free agency at $20 million plus the last year of ARB, which is going to be 10, 12. I'd be open to that. I think it's a little high.
If I could do that,
oh my gosh, yeah. If you could front load it, that makes so much sense.
I'm in.
Totally. I'd love that. I just don't know if they'll do it because of the state of the finances, but I would love, oh my gosh, if they paid him up.
Threw him a $15 million signing bonus.
Yeah, I mean, whatever it takes. I would totally have it because especially if it's de-escalating as it goes on, you have more bandwidth, and you're paying him. That's the only thing later.
I want to prioritize flexibility in the year 2029. When I think that's when I'm going to criticize the Cardinals for not going out and signing a $100 million player.
For sure. So I mean, yeah, I would I think the best possible thing they could do with their open money this offseason was actually I would rank it in this order: buy prospects and extend players as 1A, 1B, And then 3 is sign the Dustin Mays and other guys of the world you can flip later. Because like, yeah, you could get prospects, but also like if I can get Donnie cheaper in the future, or more actually a better, probably more importantly, not probably, definitely more importantly, JJ Yvonne or Win cheaper and certainty later. I do that. I use my money now to pay some of that money you would have had to pay later, because to your point that you could spend it on other things or buy prospects. And then, what do you get for Dustin May to flip them? I'm sure you use that the leftover money, but actually rather that be the last things they do rather than the first things they do. But
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, well, we've had a hour and 10 long convo. I don't even know if we'd make it to 40 today, and we went way over. So this is fun. So hit that like button. We had over 100 in here for a little bit too. Appreciate the support from everyone. This has been a fun episode. Knowing our luck, we'll probably be jumping on here in like 20 minutes for a Donovan trade just happened, because I feel like whenever we like have a long conversation about stuff, then something crazy happens. But
it'd be crazy if a
Donovan. Really appreciate you smash that like button. It's been helping the channel a lot recently, especially people just been hitting the like button more often. Helps the video get out to other people, shows the support. Again, comment down below your thoughts on things. We'd love interacting with the chat live, and we read your comments later, so we'd love to hear those as well. Oh my gosh, Andrew Donovan to the Rockies. We appreciate all the support as always. Like and subscribe, rate on audio. We'll see you guys next time. Oh, Birds on the Farm. Make sure you check that out. See you guys next time.